Welcome to Los Altos, actually. I'm currently at a gig on a break recording this week's lesson. So let's talk about what happened last week and what's going on this week and what I learned, including what's going on right now. Let's get into it. So as mentioned, I am currently at a gig and I'll be talking about this in next episode. I will cheat and have a little bit of footage from this gig just for context. I'm currently playing in a trio setting at a gig I've done in Los Altos a couple times. So this is First Friday. There's a little music playing on our break, so hopefully it's not picking that up too much. We'll see. But this past week I had 3 gigs, so kind of more normal schedule for me is 3 or 4. And there was a 3-hour gig, a 2-hour gig, and a 4-hour gig. And the 4-hour gig in particular was the one referenced in the last episode. If you missed that, you can always go back and check the playlist for that. That was the one where I needed to have sound in different rooms, kind of wirelessly. So we'll get to that. But the early part of the weekend, on Friday night, I played for a public sale event for a local business called Nature Gallery here in Los Altos. It was kind of a It was a fun gig to play. I had a pretty nice little stage area. I was on the street. Unfortunately for the person who hired me, we ended up having a last-minute change of venue. So all of the advertising was for one place, and then we were suddenly one day before in another place. So I think underattended, certainly, relative to what the owner was hoping for. So disappointing, just from the perspective of the business that hired me. That was unfortunate. The second gig of the 3 was at a brewery that I played. Actually, it was the one where I recorded Horse with No Name a couple episodes ago. And this time I was indoors there, which is really comfortable for me at my size as a solo artist. Again, kind of a slower night. Actually, there were some highway closures around the area, and I think a lot of restaurants, actually all the restaurants in that particular strip mall, were kind of low in terms of patronage. But the folks who were there were really friendly, and I actually did end up having a nice time there, and a pretty good gig for me. That was a 3-hour gig. And then the third gig that weekend was the 4-hour gig that I mentioned I was going to have to practice for, or I should say practice setting up for. So I will have a little bit of footage if I can get away with it. I'm going to look at the footage and see if I can make it work. But basically I was using a copyright song to test to make sure that the sound worked from room to room. So cut to that. Playing music over here, connecting to the mixer, connecting to the wireless transmitter. Speaker number 1, wirelessly connected. Cat. Speaker number 2. And then I will say that it was a 20th anniversary party. It was a big deal. I was hired for it 6 weeks ago, and I really wanted to land that one well. And I'm happy to report that one went exceptionally well. I got there really early, 2 hours early. Did the gig, great response. Many business cards disappeared. People showed up on Instagram, etc. And really just a great success for what I was trying to do. So very happy about that. And that is the nature of the tip for this week. I want to talk about appreciation as it pertains to, appreciation takes many forms as a musician. When you get a tip, if you're in a country or culture that has tipping, I like to say thank you, for instance, to show appreciation, smile, etc. But appreciating tips is good. Appreciating venues and owners that work with you after the fact, checking in with them, saying thank you for having me there, that's good. But the type of appreciation I want to emphasize today is just kind of the appreciation of, I do a lot of work, and that's what this whole series is about, analyzing what didn't work well and what I need to do going forward. But I think it's important to stop and appreciate when things do go well along the way. Now, if this is probably true of anyone that's ever tried to pursue, certainly a business in something that starts as a hobby, when you're going from that kind of amateur to professional, that are most people who go from being an amateur to a professional likely have this tendency to look back at what didn't work well and try to improve. But I think when you think about the job of iterating on something and getting better at it, whether it's learning the guitar, whether it's performing, whether it's songwriting, whatever it may be, you're going to have successes and failures, and more failures than successes. And I think a big part of the mental game of succeeding in that journey is appreciating when you do succeed, when you have something go well. And about a month the way into my journey now, it's really easy for me to finish a gig, good or bad, and just think about what I need to do to get better for the next one. And not really sit with the feeling of like, wow, that's a thing I did. That song went really well. You know, this is especially important if you're playing to an audience that's not responding. And I think that that's just something in general that I'm pretty weak at, actually, and I would like to do more of, which is just stop and appreciate when things are going well. So that's the tip for this week, and it's almost more of a tip reminder for myself because I'm bad at this, but I had a gig on Sunday. I worked extra hard to be super prepared for it, to do something novel with my sound, to level up my presentation of my performance, and it worked. It did exactly what I wanted it to do, more or less. And the owner was really happy, the people in the space were really happy. It was exactly what I wanted to have happen. And sometimes just sitting with, hey, that was kind of cool, is something that I'm particularly pretty bad at. And I think it's important to remember when you're on a long journey to stop and appreciate those moments when things go well. So that's the tip for today. I need to turn this camera back into the recording camera for the gig. I'm gonna go back into my gig, playing with the trio. So more information on that coming, but hope you folks are having a great weekend, and I'll have some footage from this at the end of the video, and I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.
Just open the way.